Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Tara King, and I'm the Center Coordinator for the AAAS STEM Rec. We'll just give it a second or two to allow people to join us. And while you're joining, we do have a small icebreaker. If you can advance the next slide, please. You're welcome to share your name, role, and affiliation in the chat. Introduce yourself and tell us about a favorite summer thing that you like to do. Right, for those of us just joining, we're just taking a moment to do brief introductions in the chat. And if you'd like to share your name, role, affiliation, and a favorite summer activity of yours. Thank you. Continue to do so. These are great, some great responses. In the interest of time, I'm gonna move us forward. So hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining us at our webinar on tools and measures to assess evidence-based practices in your STEM programs. My name is Tara King, and I am the coordinator of the STEM Resource and Evaluation Center here at the American Association for the Advancement of Science, or AAAS for short. So let me begin by saying a bit about the STEM Rec. AAAS is the world's largest general science association and the publisher of the science family of journals. And we manage the STEM Resource and Evaluation Center, or REC for short. The management of the REC was awarded to AAAS in October 2022 through a competitive proposal process. And the REC is a new type of investment by NSF to create greater infrastructure, build community, coordinate work, and synthesize findings across the hundreds of funded STEM programs at different types of colleges and universities across the country. And you'll see here on this slide, AAAS has 4 partners who are leading key aspects of the REC's work. MN Associates is providing evaluation technical assistance support to current and prospective STEM awardees, and they are the individuals leading this webinar today. Then we also have American Institutes for Research, who's reviewing the impact of the STEM program at the national level. Quality Education for Minorities Network, who's providing support and connections to institutions that are underrepresented in the STEM network. And the University of Washington's Center for Evaluation and Research for STEM Equity is our external evaluator. And together, working in partnership, we are the STEM Rec team. Next slide, please. So in a nutshell, the REC supports potential and current STEM grant awardees and STEM scholars, and it works to increase the overall effectiveness of the STEM portfolio. The REC promotes the exchange of ideas, resources, opportunities, and knowledge about effective strategies and practices to increase the number of talented low-income students who obtain STEM degrees and enter the STEM workforce. The REC will achieve its goals on the next slide by carrying out 5 essential activities, which include a public-facing online presence, virtual communities for STEM project leadership and scholars, and an in-person annual scholars meeting, which this year we're hosting in November 2024 in Chicago, along with the PI meeting concurrently. And we also have a technical assistance suite for STEM awardees and STEM program impact and evaluation reports. So we encourage you to visit our website, follow us on social media, and join our monthly newsletter listserv to learn more about all of our activities. This webinar today is part of the REC's Technical Assistance Suite to support the evaluation component of STEM awards across the country. With that brief introduction, I'm going to waste no time and hand on over to Nina de las Alas from NN Associates, who will be facilitating our session today. Thanks, Nina.
You're on mute, Nina.
Yes, I'm muted. Hi again, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time for this webinar. We all know that the NSF STEM program is a game changer for low-income scholars in STEM, but how do we know our STEM programs are helping scholars succeed? I mean, that's where evidence-based practice really comes in. Today, we'll dive into some of the key evidence-based practices, or EBPs. You'll hear me say that quickly, from several past and current STEM programs, and how to use these tools and measures to track their impact on your programs. My name is Nina de las Alas. I'm the Senior Associate at M&A, and I'll be filling in for Kavita. You see her there, but because of background noise, I thought it's better that I will be the one talking. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the M&A team members who have been instrumental in the STEM rec work as the evaluation TA providers, starting with Peter Goldie. Is Peter with us? If not, he's our intern who has gathered the research literature and tools and measures for the EBPs and is a doctoral candidate. We have Stephen Petredis, our associate, who's been taking notes and summarizing the metadata from the sessions. And last but certainly not least, Kavita, who's our CEO and founder of M&A. And with that, let's go get started. Next slide, please. So today's discussion is a combination of highlighting EBPs, or strategies found to enhance student success in STEM fields, tools and resources for capturing evidence of impact, and a walkthrough of STEM Rec website, where you can access the repositories of these EBP tools and resources. We think you will find the repositories to be invaluable for implementing effective practices in your programs. We'll be introducing 13, and call them the Lucky 13, EBPs that have shown significant impact. These EBPs range from mentoring programs to research experiences, and each one will be backed by robust research and will have demonstrated positive outcomes for STEM students. We're also asking for your help to crowdsource tools and resources on 4 EBPs. So this is my request number 1. If you're interested, they are peer-led tutoring, cohort building, and living learning communities. Let's see. And we envision the EBP repository to grow as we in the STEM community work together to share our expertise and insights, to find what works under what conditions with particular characteristics of scholars, and what also supports them best. We're eager to hear about your experiences, challenges, and successes with these EBPs in your STEM program. So we hope that this will be a start of an ongoing engagement. So based upon this intro, you can imagine that today's session will be a bit dense, loaded with information. We will reserve some time towards the end of the webinar for any questions and comments you may have. We highly encourage you to follow up with us after this session using the forms and links provided. Again, your insights on implementing these practices will be invaluable to the STEM community. Your contributions will help strengthen the STEM programs across the board. Remember, the REC website will always be available as a resource for EBPs and more. Next slide. As you will note here on the solicitation, NSF 245511, it clearly mentions EBPs with some detail. I'm not going to read the text out loud, but just suffice to say that STEM scholars are incredibly talented, but as you all well know, they face challenges that their peers most likely don't. They might be the first in their family to go to college, or they might have to juggle school with work or family responsibilities. That's why we need to use evidence-based practices, EBPs, strategies that have been proven to work. We want to make sure that the STEM programs are designed to address those unique challenges and help scholars thrive. And it's not enough to just implement EBPs. We need to measure their impact. We need to know what works, what doesn't work, how we can improve our programs, and how to make them even better. Next slide, please. So here are the lucky 13 EBPs that are crucial for supporting STEM scholars. They are drawn from both current and past STEM programs. Our rec partner AIR shared some of these EBPs with us, and so we give lots of thanks to AIR for their assistance in this endeavor. You may be wondering, how did you all develop the EBP repositories? Good question. The data collected was done by conducting a data scrub from the NSF STEM search database and by scanning over 600 abstracts that's looking for EBPs used in the various STEM programs. You can try this out yourself and replicate our process, but we've done a good chunk of the work for you, so hopefully this will help cut that effort. Just a note of caution, some of the tools and measures were relatively easier to locate than others, and we have found a mix of both qualitative and quantitative instruments for the same. These EBPs are based on years of research and have been shown to make a real difference in scholars' lives. So for the next several slides, we'll be exploring each EBP with some detail, looking at the research behind them, and then highlight a tool or two that you can use based upon those entries and measure their effectiveness. Next slide, please. Okay, now, how do you access this? To access the EBP repositories from the AAAS Rec website, you go to the resource section and see it on kind of like a right-hand button on there on the website. And then from there, you will go to the landing page and you will just see that among the selection of the menus selections available, you'll see them listed down. And then you click on each repository box by EBP. And it'll be open, and when you open it, you'll see a short description of the EBP itself. Then when you scroll down further after that description, you'll see a button that says download. And if you click on that, you're going to see then a list of research article references, all of which have measures and tools, some of them qualitative, that you can then search and access. It will appear as an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. Next slide, please. So each of the downloaded spreadsheets looks like this, with column headings for article type, author, APA reference, publication date, DOI, target participants, keywords, abstracts, and if the tool is validated or not, and the scale that's being used. I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to go over the 13 EBPs with a short description and an example of a measure. We hope this gives you a bit of a flavor of how each of these EBPs could be used for your study. Next slide, please. Now, before we get started, disclaimer, you may be asking, why didn't we put the actual measures and tools for easy access? And the reasons are, you see before you, the actual measures or tools were not readily accessible on the grants abstracts or the research articles. Sometimes the tools and research were also only accessible through a paywall, so we can't download these. And so to prevent from going through that, and also kind of also to create an idea that we're endorsing any of these tools, which we're not. We're just offering it as an information. We're presenting them as they are shown. Now, if you are a faculty member or have school email with an EDU ID, you can use your library access for your institution to locate these resources. Next slide, please. So let's begin with one that I think everyone, all of us, have been grappling with, which is sense of belonging. And I don't have a specific reference from this, but I'm gleaning this based upon ongoing readings. And we know that sense of belonging is not just about feeling comfortable. It's about feeling like you are a part of something bigger. It's the extent to which students feel accepted, respected, and included in the academic community. This sense of belonging is crucial for students' retention and success, particularly for underrepresented groups in the STEM fields, and this applies to our scholars. It can significantly impact a scholar's level of motivation, engagement, and overall academic performance. Briefly, the sense of belonging in educational settings are rooted in several theoretical frameworks, such as community cultural wealth, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, social identity theory, self-determination theory, Tinto's self-determination theory, and community of practice. When scholars feel that they belong, they are more likely to stick with their studies, do well in their classes, and even pursue a career in STEM. So this EBP has been shown to increase academic engagement, have higher retention rates, improve well-being, strengthen peer support, enhance career readiness, increase motivation, increase diversity and inclusion, and collaboration. So here, we're highlighting one of those resources that you find in that Excel spreadsheet. This is the Critical Cultural Wealth and First Generation Student Wealth-Being Model by Duffy and al. It's a 2020 publication document, and it focuses on measuring factors influencing career selection and life satisfaction among first-generation college students. The model comprises of 18 items and addresses elements such as campus discrimination, financial stress, and sense of belonging. The study found that the scale effectively captured experiences across diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds, providing valuable insights into the well-being and career satisfaction of first-generation students. This model emphasized the importance of recognizing cultural wealth and resilience among first-generation students, considering social, cultural, and socioeconomic factors. By assessing these variables, the model aimed to support the academic and career development of these populations, highlighting the critical role of environmental and personal experiences in shaping students' well-being and success. Next slide. All right, so the next one is on faculty mentoring, which is a big other area that is predominantly used across many of our STEM projects. And it's a very powerful strategy for supporting scholars. Faculty mentors share expertise and provide guidance, encouragement, and a sense of connection that can make a huge difference. A supportive relationship between faculty and students that fosters academic and personal growth. Effective mentoring can provide students with guidance, role models, and networking opportunities within their field of study. It often leads to increased student confidence, clearer career goals, and improved academic outcomes. Now, mentoring can also take many forms, including formal programs, informal relationships, or even just a faculty member who takes a genuine interest in a scholar's success. Each type has its benefits. And it's worth to note that mentoring could also be applied for faculty, between faculty, so that they can be better mentors to the scholars. So if you're a faculty member, this will help you find some overlap and divergent pieces of how mentoring faculty affects also mentoring of students. But how do we know that mentoring programs are actually working? We need to have measures like scholar satisfaction, the impact on their academic performance, and their career goals. So here's an example of one measure that tries to get at that. And it's from Burke et al., a 2005 publication called Measuring Effectiveness of Faculty Mentoring Relationships. And it explores the definition of mentorship, and it identifies key characteristics of effective mentors in academic settings. The authors developed 2 tools to evaluate mentoring effectiveness, addressing various perspectives on what constitutes a mentor. The study emphasized the importance of clearly defining mentorship to create reliable measures of effectiveness. Additionally, the article discusses psychometric considerations and outlines directions for future research, providing a detailed scale for assessing mentoring relationships. Next slide, please. So our next EBP is proactive advising, and it's all about taking a more hands-on approach to supporting scholars. It's about reaching out to scholars, checking in on them regularly, and offering them guidance support throughout their academic journey. A proactive advising approach has advisors deliberately and with timeliness reaching out to them and anticipating their needs and addressing potential issues before they become problems. This method is particularly effective for first generation and at-risk students, helping them navigate the complexities of higher education. It often involves check-ins, early interventions, personalized academic planning. So if we think about this, STEM scholars might need a little extra help in navigating the complexities of college life. As like we say, they may be first-time scholars, first time in their families. So the whole feeling about what it's to be like in a college environment is a totally new culture altogether. So what does proactive advising can do to them, can help them in staying on track, helping them inform decisions and help them feel more confident in being in this new setting and being confident about their new abilities. So to make proactive advising work, we need to be strategic. We need to provide training for advisors, develop clear guidelines, and to use technology to make it easier to stay connected with them. So here's an example of a research paper that uses both qualitative and quantitative measures that fall under proactive or intrusive advising. And this study is entitled Understanding the Impact of Data-Driven Tools on Advising Practice and Student Support by Kite et al. And it's a very recent publication, 2023. And it explores the use of student success dashboard in university advising. The researchers examined its effects on proactive and developmental advising practices. And while quantitative results showed no significant changes in advising practices, qualitative data indicated a disconnect between the tool's introduction and the advising community's engagement. The paper includes a 3-item measure on proactive advising, highlighting the potential for data-driven tools to support advisors, while noting the challenges in their integration. The findings suggested that while data-driven tools are valuable for assessing advisor effectiveness, their successful implementation require more than just an introduction. Effective integration into advising practices needs careful consideration of the advisor's perspectives and institutional context. The study emphasized the importance of addressing the gap between technology and practice to truly enhance student supports and success. So for many of you who use early warning systems and other types of dashboards, how do you then integrate those types of information to actually helping then connect with, say, a student who looks like they are having difficulty in a class to actually taking the effort to go meet with a tutor and to help them address some of their learning difficulties. Next slide, please. All right, the 4th EBP that we're going to cover is the peer-led tutoring, and it's a great method to provide academic support and build a sense of community among scholars and students in general. Scholars can learn from each other, build confidence, and feel like they're not alone in their struggles. Education support is provided by trained peers, often in small group settings. This approach leverages the power of peer relationships to enhance learning, making complex concepts more accessible through relatable explanations. It also benefits the peer tutors, reinforcing their understanding and also developing their leadership skills. Peer tutors can provide valuable assistance with coursework and study skills and even just a friendly ear to listen to. They can also help scholars feel more connected to their academic community. To make sure our peer-led tutoring programs are successful, we do need measures to capture these phenomenon. So like scholars' satisfaction, the impact on their grades, and the quality of the training provided to the tutors. So one example cited here is a programmatic approach to peer-led tutoring to assist students in academic difficulty by Nuisi and Liao. Again, a very recent publication. And it evaluates a peer-led tutoring program for pharmacy students. The study found that peer-led tutoring program effectively reduced academic dismissals among the at-risk students who are pharmacy students. The tutorees reported improved study habits and increased confidence in their academic abilities through their peer-led tutors' help. And additionally, the article includes a set of yes/no statements designed to gauge the impact of the tutoring sessions, which can be found on page 65 if you're able to get that document. The findings highlight the benefits of peer-led tutoring in supporting students in facing academic challenges. Next slide, please. So the fifth EBP we're covering is social and intellectual integration, which is about helping scholars feel connected to their peers, faculty, and the broader academic community. It's about creating a sense of belonging where scholars feel comfortable sharing ideas, asking questions, and building relationships. This is especially important for STEM scholars who might feel like they're the only ones facing certain challenges. And it helps in the integration of them, helps them feel supported and connected then. So we can promote integration through things like social events, group projects, research opportunities, and even just creating a welcoming and inclusive classroom environment. To assess the effectiveness of these integration efforts, we need to take a look at, again, scholar participation, their satisfaction with such activities, and the quality of their interactions with each other and their professors. So one I'd like to feature here, there's several, but one is something called measuring perceived community support, factorial structure, longitudinal invariance, and predictive validity of the PCQ by Herrero and Garcia. It's a 2007 document. And it explores the structure and reliability of the perceived community support questionnaire, otherwise the PCSQ. Through factor analyses, the study identified 3 components of community support: integration, support, and participation. The 14-item questionnaire used a 5-point Likert scale and demonstrated good predictive validity, emphasizing the role of community support in fostering integration and participation. Okay, next slide, please. So EBP number 6 is often requested, as we all know, working in universities. It's about internships. And as we know, internships are an excellent way for STEM scholars to gain real-world experience, build their skills, and make connections in their field. They can also help scholars feel more confident in their career choices. Quality internships provide practical, real-world experience that complements classroom learning. They can significantly enhance the student's career readiness, and help them with professional networking, and also help them understand their chosen field. But internships are only effective if they provide scholars with valuable experiences. So to get at knowing whether or not these internship programs are high quality, we need relevant and are relevant to scholars' career goals and provide opportunities for learning and growth. We need some measures to capture that, right? And so those measures need to look at things like scholar satisfaction, the skills they developed, and their mentorship experiences through the internships. So I want to highlight one particular resource that we found under this, and it's called Assessing Engineering Internship Efficacy, Industry's Perceptions of Student Performance by Hogg et al. It's a 2006 document. And it explores the effectiveness of engineering internships by evaluating students' performance through feedback from industry supervisors. The study employed a brief assessment tool included in this article to gauge skills and competencies. Results indicated that students generally possessed the necessary skills and competencies for the industry, and that they were career ready and were exposed to professional networking, highlighting the value in the internships in preparing students for their careers. Okay, next slide, please. So we have here 2 of the EBPs, and due to time constraints, I'm not going to cover them in depth. I just want to show that they're also available. But I also want to make note that compared to some of the others, these have just a handful of articles that we were able to cite. So Again, pause here for a moment and plead number 2. So if you know of any studies featuring tools and measures that fit in these EBPs, please let us know. Okay. Okay, next slide, please. Number 20. Let's see, the next EBPs here we're addressing is engineering self-efficacy. And it's about students' confidence in their abilities to succeed specifically for engineering-related tasks and careers. And this specialized form of self-efficacy is crucial in retaining students in engineering programs, which we all know has a high rate of dropouts. And so in order to retain these students, we need to know what works because engineering programs are very rigorous and very challenging. And it can have a significant impact on a student's choice to persist in engineering studies and pursue it as a career. So I want to highlight one of the studies we found here, and it's by Verdon Smith and Lucina, another recent document, 2021, and investigated how pre-college fund of knowledge impacted minoritized first-year engineering students' interests, self-efficacy, and certainty about pursuing engineering careers. The findings revealed that students' everyday household knowledge significantly contributed to their engineering interests and self-confidence. The research highlighted the importance of these assets in promoting engineering education among minoritized students. Additionally, a reliable 3-item self-efficacy scale using Cronbach's alpha with a result of 0.89 is also included. Just for those in the statistical know, Cronbach's alpha is a measure of internal consistency or reliability of a set of scales or test items, and it indicates how closely related the items are as a group, often used to assess the reliability of a questionnaire. The values range from 0 to 1, and then higher values, typically about 0.7, indicates better reliability. So for those interested who have engineering programs, this might be a tool for you. And so please take a look at it. Next slide, please. Related to that is their next EBP, which addresses the extent to which students see themselves as engineers or computer scientists. Developing a strong professional identity in these fields can increase persistence and success in STEM programs. It involves not just skill acquisition, but also internalizing the values, practices, and culture of the engineering and computer science communities. So one document we saw, which is a 2016 study, measuring undergraduate students' engineering self-efficacy, a validation study, features, this is a validated engineering self-efficacy measure for undergraduate students, and it identified 2 scales: the general engineering self-efficacy scale and the engineering skills self-efficacy scale. Factor analysis confirmed that the structure and regression analysis demonstrated relationships between the 2 constructs, and the scale showed evidence of validity and reliability, supporting their use in assessing engineering students' self-efficacy, and the scales are also included in the article. An older document that you also might be interested in is called Belonging in Engineering, and it's by Meister and Leary, dates back to 1995. And it posited that people are naturally driven toward establishing and sustaining belongingness. And they defined it as a sense of belonging, referring to students' perceived social support on campus, feeling or sensation of connectedness, the experience of mattering or feeling cared about, accepted, respected, valued by, and importance to the group. For example, the campus community or others on the campus, including faculty and peers. So these are some of the, these are 2 well-regarded, perhaps, documents that we suggest that you take a look at and see if it applies to your context. Next slide, please. So going beyond engineering, let's take a look at STEM identity in general. which, as we can discern, is about our students' self-perception as members of the broader STEM community. A strong STEM identity, as we know, can motivate students to persist in challenging coursework and pursue STEM careers. It often develops through positive experiences in STEM courses, research opportunities, and interactions with STEM professionals. And we're highlighting here one of those resources, which is a study by McDonald et al., a 2019 document, which introduces a single item measure for assessing STEM identity among college students in Alabama. The authors validated this measure through 3 studies, showing its reliability and effectiveness in distinguishing between STEM and non-STEM students. It also correlates with persistence in STEM majors. The measure is designed to be a quick and efficient tool for evaluating STEM identity, attitudes, self-efficacy, agency, and goals. Next slide, please. So we hear this often among students in various fields, but particularly in STEM fields, and that is the imposter syndrome or phenomenon. And it's, as we've all heard about, it's that persistent feeling of self-doubt and fear of being exposed as a fraud, despite evidence of competence. This phenomenon is particularly prevalent in high-achieving individuals and can significantly impact students' well-being and performance. Addressing imposter syndrome is crucial for supporting students' confidence and persistence in challenging STEM fields. So this study by Viltlock and et al., it's a 2016 document, explores imposter syndrome and burnout among American medical students. Findings indicated that female students experience higher levels of imposter syndrome than male students. And imposter syndrome significantly correlates with all types of burnout, and it is notably prevalent among 4th-year students. The study includes the full Young Imposter Syndrome quiz in Appendix 1, which is located page 369 if you're able to capture that document, and it consists of 8 binary questions. Next slide, please. Finally, we have our last EBP that we're addressing today, and that is on living, learning, community, sense of community. And it addresses residential programs that integrate academic content with community living experiences. These communities create immersive learning environments that can enhance students' engagement, academic performance, and sense of belonging. They often focus on specific disciplines or themes, providing targeted support and collaborative learning opportunities. So one study that we are highlighting today features the Hurtado and Juan, which is a 2005 study article. And the study examined Latino educational outcomes about campus climate, sense of belonging, and preparation for diverse workplaces. The study highlighted how these factors influenced Latino students' experiences in higher education. The authors provided a 5-item validated measure of a sense of belonging, useful for assessing involvement in living, learning communities. So next slide, and plea number 3. So as I mentioned earlier at the start of this webinar, we see that EBP repositories are an ongoing opportunity for us as an STEM community to crowdsource our knowledge, expertise, and experiences to build up this body of knowledge on STEM programs and on STEM scholars. And so we ask for your help in adding resources, particularly in these areas that we found wanting. So that's peer-led tutoring in STEM education, tutoring, cohort building, and that last one we just talked about, which is living, learning community. So if you have your phone out right now, feel free to take a look at that using the QR code, or later on, when you get this slide available, you can click on to the share knowledge and effective practices. Also, if you have any follow-up questions, comments, and suggestions, we would love to hear from you. And so please feel free to fill out that TA request form and we'll get connected. And with that, with ample time to spare, are there any questions and comments? I think we saw several of them pop up, and so just gonna leave the time to allow for folks to post them. Vita, are there any particular ones you want to go over specifically? Kind of quickly went through those slides.
I believe I saw one question in terms of an overlap of EBPs across the articles, and the answer is yes. Going through the literature, there's a lot of overlap and also terminology overlap in terms of self-efficacy, motivation, interest, so community culture wealth. So we would urge that when you actually read the article, you will see that there are many of the literature searches actually cross-list. And that's actually a really wonderful question, because you will see that it's happened to. And we have our intern Peter here if he'd like to add anything to that, Peter.
I think you kind of got everything. There's definitely conceptual overlap in some areas. So yeah, keep that in mind as you're reviewing the articles.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I see a hand up from Miranda Chen Musgrave. So feel
Yes,
free.
I might have missed this at the beginning, but did you have any advice about when we want to adapt certain instruments to a different context? Like, for example, self-efficacy for engineers. We work with scientists, but not with, engineers specifically, more biologists. And so, looking into instruments that are specific for biologists is one way to kind of go about doing it. But like if I wanted to try adapting, maybe revalidating, I don't know if it's worth, the effort of revalidating the instrument and then using it. Just wanted to get your thoughts.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So Miranda, what I'm thinking is, what if you find a tool or a measure, and then you basically, for instance, we are looking at the construct, for instance, we're looking at self-efficacy, and that self-efficacy could be a backbone for mathematics, it could be for engineering, for biology, it doesn't matter. So depending on what you're trying to assess, if you're assessing, say, faculty mentoring, that cross-cuts across all disciplines. So it doesn't have to be subject specific. It could be the construct specific, and then just look at the construct and see if that kind of fits. Some of the tools luckily had the validation scale, and that we were just thrilled to see that they actually did the Cronbach Alpha, they did a factor analysis, the CFA and the ECA, and that got us excited. But many of the others are just tools and measures, and this is what works, and most of them are correlational studies too. And in STEM, as you know, sample sizes tend to be smaller, right? So that is also an issue. We have some retention issues, and we have cohort-based model. So one of the things that we are really encouraging all of you to contribute is the cohort building and the cohort model, and see if you can find any tools and measures, and if you can share that with us, because we want to build that, and we haven't been successful in finding much.
Thank you, Kavita. Appreciate it.
And also, if you do find one and modify it, let us know how it went, because that again also helps determine, what works in our community. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
So what tools have you all used? Anyone would like to share anything that kind of clicked and said, hey, I've used this tool already that was actually shared today, and is there anything that you would like to add to what we were able to find?
Or was there a particular tool that we kind of quickly went through that you want to take a look at, particular for your situation? There's
right. And another thing is also, I know it's a lot of information and it tends to get heavy. So that's why we're encouraging you all to, if you want to talk about any of the tools in particular, we can talk through that through the TA that we are planning to do in August, September. So please don't be shy. Let us know how we can help each other.
So
Are you looking? Oh, sorry.
No. I mean, this is kind of the official rollout of the repositories. You notice it was like dates, if you go there, like it says June 28th, it was kind of like the soft roll, but this is the official rollout. So once that you've all had a chance to take a look at it, digest it, check out the actual documents, take a look at, see what those tools from those documents are and see if they apply to you. We'd love to hear from you about kind of your reaction to that, because I think, we just don't want these things to be dusty documents. We really want it to be really useful to everyone. And so we want to make sure we have this kind of feedback and communication going. So yes, go ahead, Miranda.
Oh, I was just gonna share, like, if there has been some that I've been using specific to like biology students. Like there's a PIT survey. I don't know if I've seen it in the list that you all have. It combines like looking at identity / belonging, and it really tries to measure persistence at the end through like 5 different constructs. And so I guess that could be something that we could add, but I was gonna ask if it needs to be science specific or STEM specific, because I've seen like measures of isolation, but it's not in STEM, I think.
Yep, that's actually, yeah. So as I said, it's not in STEM, but isolation is isolation, right? Imposter syndrome is imposter syndrome, no matter what. The same thing with living learning communities, grad school, undergrad school, it's the support and sense of belonging. It really cross-cuts across all subject areas. For instance, we found some really good tools from pharmacy, nursing, right? So, and we were like, oh, this is exciting, but it also kind of cross-cuts across what we are trying to study. Like when Peter found those instruments, the first question, exactly that. It's like, is it relevant to STEM? And the answer is absolutely it is. Because again, looking back to the construct, it doesn't have to be subject specific.
Thank you.
So one of the things that we are planning to do in the next iteration is look for measures and tools for undergraduate research, because that is one of the tools, that is one of the EBPs that we didn't mention. That's because we don't have the measures and tools yet. But in our own work with STEM grants, that has been one of the areas of interest. So we thought, well, why not look for measures and tools that could be beneficial to all of you as well. So that's coming up, and Peter is busy locating some of those measures for undergraduate research. More to come.
Okay, actually, you know what, Kavita, that's a great kind of comment. Jamila, could you do me a favor? Could you go back to that list of EBPs again? I think it's, yeah, slide 9. If you can show that. So these are the ones we've kind of highlighted, and Kavita suggested one for undergraduate research. Are there any topics, any practices, any strategies you think that we should investigate further or take a, so feel free to list it down in the comments or chat section. Again, we like to make this an opportunity to be, not just us giving you information, but for you all to be sharing information coming from your area. So if there's something there that you found wanting, let us know. So out of just curiosity and kind of in the last few minutes, what are of these 13 EBPs, which ones are your top 3? If anybody can like put on the chat, like your top 3 ones that you're, interested in capturing. This gives us a sense also of what areas need to be more robust in terms of tools. Okay, see sense of belonging, self-efficacy, STEM identity. Okay, peer tutoring, faculty mentoring, great. Okay, great. Imposter syndrome, okay. See some themes, see some top two, okay. Anything different besides the ones that are already shown? Okay. Social and intellectual integration, okay. Bison. Great.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, self-efficacy and sense of belonging were the top search items. And also, in addition to thanking AIR, who's the research partner for the REC, we would also want to thank AAAS, Julius Najab. He did tremendous amount of work on sense of belonging, and we were able to start building on what he was able to find. So thanks to both AAAS and AIR.
Yes. Thank you, Bonnie. Okay, great. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that resource, Miranda. Okay. All right. I'm looking at it's 4:51. So if there are no other last minute comments out loud, I'm going to turn it over to Tara.
Thanks, Nita and Kavita, and all of your colleagues at MN Associates for putting together today's session. One last pitch for your help to provide your feedback on today's session. It's really, really valuable for us to inform our future work. So I believe we have a link to that survey we could put in the chat. And then upcoming events, just wanted to let you know, for those of you attending our 2024 STEM Scholars and PI meeting in November, we're having 2 information sessions. Two information sessions, one for PIs and one for scholars. So you can find the information and register on our site under events. And I just want to share too, because you all mentioned this sense of belonging report that the REC had put out as a deep dive. I just put a link in the chat to that as well. If you're interested, that's a great resource that we've put together for the sense of belonging literature and best practices that we found in STEM programs. Feel free to connect with us on our website and follow us on social media. Again, join our listserv if you'd like to receive our monthly newsletter. And with that.
And please, please, please. I know as evaluators, we're terrible at this practice, but we really love to have feedback. This is going to be hopefully an ongoing engagement. And so let us know what helps from this session. And how we can make it better, but also let us know what resources are available out there and how we can make the resource repositories even better. So thank you, everybody.